Good evening, everyone. This is Dr. Swapnija. I think we'll wait for 2 minutes so other participant can join.
Okay, ma'am.
Have you checked the videos uploaded for AWS and cloud computing?
No, ma'am, I haven't checked.
Okay, fine. You can take your time and just go through the videos. Okay. Any one of you
Okay,
aware
ma'am.
about this database concept or any like SQL? Like this is the last module for your course. Any idea means in your academics, have you done this?
No, ma'am.
Okay, fine.
Not for me also, ma'am.
Okay, then no problem. We'll start from scratch, like the basic concept, because this is very useful. Means not only for like biological students, but everywhere, like in data science, in machine learning, in day to day, a computer scientist. Okay, I think we can start now. Okay. So let's first start with the concept like what exactly the SQL and database management. DBMS stands for Database Management System. So this module is very essential for like anyone who is working with the data, raw data or the database. So when you want to efficiently store any data or retrieve any data, after that analysis will be the next step, analysis of this vast amount of data is nothing but information, like you all exploring the data on online databases. The simply just take example Amazon or Flipkart, any database where data is stored in a particular manner, like there is a short what we can say filter. You can apply different filters to fetch a particular item which you are looking for, right? So this is nothing but the already stored database, well organized database, and from that database you are fetching the data. Okay, so the same concept is here with the biological data that also you mostly uh, use, that is NCBI. Okay, very well known database. So how exactly it works, like the concept, what is the database and how SQL helps to fetch the query, fetch the information. Okay, so here first thing, how to store the data, how to retrieve the data, and then analyze the retrieved data. So this is very important, like just like how biological database handle the genomic or proteomic data. Okay, so just let me. Let's first understand the database management system and SQL and why it is important in bioinformatics and like biological research. Okay, so let me give one small example. Imagine you are a researcher, like after completing this course, definitely you'll be fine. So let's analyze thousands of DNA sequence, and like you have this large data set. Consider FASTA files or anything like expression data, any patient records. Okay, or if you are interested in protein structure, then protein data, protein structure, or all the files related to that protein. Get detailed about that, any kind of file, like let's consider Excel file. You're working with small scale data in which is stored in Excel file. Okay, but as you grow the data, then searching is very difficult in that. Fine, like thousands of rows, thousands of columns are there, then how to search? If there are 10 by 10, then 10 rows, 10 column, then it is very easy. Manually you can, means your visually you can find where exactly your field is there. Okay, your data is there. But if database is very huge, then it is difficult to fetch manually, like it's painful job. So SQL will be there. SQL is a structured query language. Structured query language, we'll see how we can write the syntax for this. So this is very powerful tool, like when you want to manage the data, when you want to fetch the data efficiently, like from a databases. For example, like ensemble. Let's take example from biological data. Ensemble is there, Uniprot is there, even TCGA, cancer data. How to fetch the information. Okay, so first thing, how to store the data and then retrieve the data, biological data, easily. That is done with help of these two concepts, DBMS and SQL. So SQL, simply we can say SQL is a well organized laboratory where means every sample has a proper place, exactly where it is saved. And if you manually search that particular element, that particular file, it is very difficult. But you apply SQL query, it is very easily you can fetch that particular row. Like for example, in your gene database, you're just looking for BRCA. So rather than searching alphabetically or rather than searching manually, it is very easy if you fire the query, then that particular file will be fetched, okay, without means extra efforts. So first thing, for example, let's take example, find all the genes which are related to breast cancer. Even if you are retrieving the protein sequence for any specific mutation, or what we can do if we want to filter the patients with any specific genetic marker, so that all thing we can use, we can find by with help of SQL query. Okay, this is the thing. So let's understand the database management system, like what exactly DBMS. DBMS, so basically there are concepts like, first there is a raw data. Okay, data. Are you aware about the term data? Simple data. What? If uh,
Ma'am, it means information.
yes, it is raw information which is not properly organized. Okay, so data, if you collect all the data and manage properly, organize like curated one, then you can call as a information. But if it is raw, then you can, because we don't know it is useful or not. So sirf data, only data means it is a raw facts and figures. Okay, when you convert this into any particular format, informative format, curated format, then you can call this as a information. If only dumped information is there, then dumped raw data is there, then it is that is not called as a information. So data, this term reflects the raw facts and figures, like gene sequence. We don't know how we can use that. Simply a gene sequence which we are getting from sequencer machine. Okay, that is not organized, just a sequence, raw sequence. Even protein structure. So this is called as a data. When you uh, when you create any proper format like accession ID, then gene name or sequence, like this organized way, structural collection of the data is called as a database management system. Okay, so when you create any data, convert any data into database management system, like for example GenBank store all nucleotide sequence. So that is a structured way to save the data, to collect the data, and efficient storage is there, then efficient retrieval process is there, management process is there, management update the data, right? So these all things happen. That's why it is a organized collection, structured collection. And to that is only database. Okay, means first thing is data, then database. To manage all these things, third step is the database management system, means some software will be there to manage all the data. So software can do security, even integrity. Means what? Suppose anybody wants to change the data, so it is not allowed. So management system take care of all these things: integrity, security, then access, who can access the data, who can change the content, who can just read the content. We all check this all thing in Linux ch mode, right? So permissions are there. So MySQL is there, MongoDB is there. So these are database management system. And if, like, suppose NCBI, I think you learn this NCBI, then DDBJ, these are all interconnected databases, right? So when they are interconnected, means if any information you are looking, like BRCA you are looking, so the same information you'll get from DDB, the other databases. Like if you are looking in NCBL, Ensemble, So this is called as a relational database management system. Relational means there is a relation, like the same SQL query you can use to fetch the same information you will get from all the database. They are interconnected. ऐसा नहीं है कि ब्राका का information इसमें अलग है उसमें अलग है. Everywhere you'll get the same. So they are related. Okay, so the link is what? Data which is stored in database, which is managed by database management system, and if it is structured related tables, then you can call as a relational database management system. Clear now? Okay, so here you can see the definition and purpose. So like what exactly the importance, why we are using this? Okay, so first, to store the raw facts and figures, then types of the database, as it is given relational, NoSQL, and object oriented. So relational term itself explains that it is related. So database, it's simply, you can assume it's like a table having rows and columns. And like for example, in your college there are multiple departments, right? Like botany, zoology, computer science, microbiology. Okay, and these are the departments, and the student, suppose student database is one database having all information about the student. So there are different tables. You can consider table for faculty, table for stream like science stream, commerce stream, even table for, so that table contains all the detailed information, means columns. Like if, let's take example, very simple database, that is student database. Student database having student roll number, their name, age, address, contact number, all details about the students. Now that student, suppose take admission for the science stream. From science, again there is a biotechnology. So in this way we can link the different tables. Okay, so this is a relationship between the tables, between the database management system. Okay, so when you relate the query, definitely you can avoid the redundancy, because if you are using yes, like your name, suppose here Yash Joshi. Okay, he uh, took admission for the biotechnology, so no need to maintain two different tables. You can just use the name or the ID of that student to link that particular course. So this is a avoiding redundancy, repeatedness of the table, repeatedness of the data. Just link the table with each other, so we can make a connection between these all. So this is called as a relationship, RDBMS, relational database management system. Okay, and then we can use SQL query to fetch the information. So we'll see that in detail, like with help of different syntax, how we can fetch and how we can use two different tables to fetch the information. Okay, there is a no SQL. So the main thing, this RDBM is clear. Let me give one example, NCBI, which is very widely used, right? So NCBI is again relational database. Like there you can save nucleotide sequence, and for each sequence there is a entry for the metadata. If you just check the page, home page, then you can see the links, navigated links. Suppose you are looking for metadata like only gene name, only organism detailed, even for any publication related to with that gene. So there are different links, and through that link you can navigate to that page. So no need to store everything on the same page. Okay, so there is a popular RDBMS like MySQL, PostgreSQL, SQLite. These are different databases. Are you aware about these terms, MySQL, SQLite, PostgreSQL? Anybody? Have I think you have heard about this. So what exactly the difference between these three different databases? So first thing, let's understand the similarity. Like all stores the same kind of thing, like tables having rows and columns, but only the type of query is different. Like the syntax is different, how to fetch the information, and that is called as a SQL query, structured query. Okay, so that is difference. And if we consider the difference between all these different databases, so performance wise they are different. Like if you consider MySQL is very it can handle very heavy operations, like many complex queries it can handle, large scale data or storage base, size base. We can receive the information from server itself. Okay, like websites, simple example, websites or e-commerce. So that, for that thing we can use MySQL. Where Postgres is like for um, JSON files or like what we can take example, complex queries. Okay, for complex queries we can use PostgreSQL, but that need server setup. Like genomic data, if you want to do large scale data analysis for bioinformatic purpose, then we need this PostgreSQL. And SQLite is very lightweight. Like on mobile also you can operate, like just like any patient ID or any mobile app for hospital, like this, very lightweight. And for small scale application we can use SQLite. So there is no high volume, there is no transaction, concurrent transactions. So that is useful for light database or small database. Okay, clear this? No, relational, no SQL, object oriented. Okay, so just summarize. MySQL is for web application. Postgres is for, mostly we are using for bioinformatics and large scale application. And SQLite is just for small project. Means simply a mobile app or any local storage. This is the main three different platforms. Then real world application of database. Okay, would you like to tell any application in, like anything? Now I have give the idea about what exactly the database. So how we can implement, or we already check many databases in first or second module. Okay, so how we can use this, like the concept database in bioinformatics. Even I in introduction I told this.
Ma'am, DBSNP is there, so it has all the SNP's data in it.
Yes. And if we are looking something like we are using interface like browser interface, so this is a graphical user interface, so we just click and execute, right? But with SQL we have to write query. Okay, like select from where. So this is the standard syntax, we'll see that syntax. Select is for selecting columns, from is for from which table we want to select, and where is for condition, where suppose where gene name is BRCA, like this. Means suppose question is find all gene sequences from BRCA1 from GenBank. So GenBank is your database, our query is BRCA1, so that is a keyword, that is a condition. And we are looking for only gene name. So either you can select only gene name column, or you can select all data from GenBank where gene name is BRCA. So this way we have to write query. And in bioinformatics, we can use different databases like Ensemble, NCBI, UCSC, because these are all using the same concept, RDBMS, to manage sequencing data. Okay, even clinical biomedical database, like suppose anybody wants to retrieve patients with any specific variant, let's take cancer. Okay, so this is also a condition, and with help of this we can manage the patient record, we can manage the genetic marker disease, and then correlation between that by firing the query. Okay, like select patient ID, because we want patient information, even we want that gene variant. So we can take multiple columns, like select patient ID, select gene variant from clinical database, where where you have to provide the condition where gene variant is, let's take example TP53. Okay, like that. Even NGS data or transcriptomic data we can use, that is online databases like Mango DB is there. In that we can use NGS data. Okay, even single cell RNA results. So these are all use of this. Then SQL. Now let's move toward the concept SQL. SQL stands for Structured Query Language. Now let's see. This is a language for RDBMS. Some basic operations like create, read, update, delete. Because create is for creating the table. Read means from that table we are reading the data. Update means update the information. And if we don't want, then delete the information. So in short, it is called as a CRUD: create, read, update, and delete. This we already check. Now let's see like database and SQL, how we can connect. Okay, database is nothing but the stored information, connected, structured information, and SQL is the query to fetch that information. Right? This is clear? Okay. So DBMS stores and manage the data. and SQL queries it. Means database management software is a database management software. This software basically store, organize, manage everything, large amount of structured data, where SQL, that is structured query language, with help of this language we can interact with that database. So interact means we can fire query, we can update, we can manage, everything we can do efficiently because it is a structured collection. Okay, for example, if you are looking for any book from library, so let's consider database management system is nothing but a library, and SQL is how you are searching for that any particular book. Okay, so here DBMS is nothing but Postgres or MySQL, SQLite, anything. So that is a store, and gene expression data means from where you are getting that sequencing experiments, and just by using SQL query, you are retrieving any specific expression pattern or any condition you can apply, like disease condition, healthy sample, anything. Okay, so that is the main relationship. So there are different tables, tables which store the data. Okay, so table is in the format of the row and column, and query, let me write it here, otherwise just let me check. Okay, I'll give the syntax. So when you write the query, what we want to retrieve, that we have to write with select keyword. Select everything in capital. We'll take hands-on session for this. So select, then update, delete, insert. These are the keywords to interact with the database. And then as a result, we are getting the output, whatever the condition we have applied on that basis. Like here, fetching gene expression data by using SQL. So this is the condition which is given. Means we have to write, or let me share here. Just I'm sharing notepad. Okay. So suppose the query is what here? Fetching gene expression data using SQL. Screen is visible. My notepad is visible, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So we have to write like this. Select. This is a keyword. We cannot change the font and we cannot change the case. Everything in capital. Then suppose in your table, this is one column, gene name. This is a column name. Or let's take sample also, sample ID. So these two columns we want to fetch, and what we are looking, fetching gene expression data using SQL. So let's take example, we want expression value as well. Means this is expression level or any column name which is there in database. So these three are columns. Select is always used for selection of columns. Then from where we want to select. So this from is again keyword from, and this is suppose our table name, gene expression. Okay, so from table name, and then here we have to apply condition where, like where let's take, this is the column name. From this column we are looking for any specific gene, so always give condition with is equal to, because we are checking the condition. And if it is a character, like let's take example, we are looking for BRCA1 gene. So we are checking in that table where exactly the row match with BRCA1, and for that row, whatever the sample ID and expression ID, that will be our answer. So as many rows matching with that particular condition, that many rows will be your resulting database. Okay. So first thing, database, there are steps like how we can proceed. So first, database process the query. Means search that particular index table, then try to match that particular row, and then send result back. So we are getting a result as a structured output, structured table. Like whatever columns we have selected, these three columns will be there, and the rows satisfied with this condition, that many rows will be your table. Okay. So database management system and SQL both works together. Means database, like this is the database, this is the table, and this is the query. So from database, we are fetching the query. So together, by storing the biological data and then allowing efficient information from that database by using SQL query. That is the thing. Now let's see. what we are going to learn. So let's understand SQL, the rules, how we can define the query, what all processes, the characteristic of SQL, why we are using SQL, what all disadvantages, and data types. Like we already learned different programming languages, like you know how to access, how to handle operating system, Linux operating system, Python, R. So to interact with that particular system, we have to write the syntax in the same way. So here SQL data types we have to learn, so we can write the query. Okay, so SQL, it stands for, it is just the information. You can go through this slide. This is an introductory slide. Okay. Okay, let's check some rules, like what all rules we need to follow. So here atomicity means we need to ensure that database transaction is either all or nothing. Means if one part fails in case, so the entire transaction is rolled back. So there are different terms. Rollback is different keyword, then delete is different. For example, if you're updating gene expression level for, let's take for multiple samples, so either all update successfully or none are applied, like that will be your output. So that is the thing with atomicity. Then consistency is nothing but like we can we can set some constraint, okay, like rules and constraints. So we can keep the guarantee like database remains valid after transaction or before transaction. So for that thing we have to set some rules, we have set some conditions. Like suppose you have a table gene expression, so some like range should decide, right? So if you are putting any value in negative, so it should not be accepted like that. So you can prevent the storing such kind of negative value, negative gene expression, and that system requires positive value, so it should display some message. So in this way you can use this, you can just follow the consistency of the table. Then isolation, for example, suppose if two students or two researchers querying the same gene from database at the same time simultaneously, so everybody get the same or correct answer, right? So that is also important, means we need to ensure that the current concurrent transaction also in the positive way, like accordingly if we interface that particular database, so we need to maintain the data integrity. So everybody, those who are accessing that database, get the correct or get the isolated view of that database. That is important. Okay. Then durability is how you can save the data. If suppose there is a genetic data which is saved in database, and if you want to make it safe, like if some, in case suppose server crashed, then what happened, then what we can do, there is a means chance to lost of losing all the data, right? So we don't want such scenario. So we have to take care of this durability. Means suppose once transaction done, once save this, or like permanently if we want to save this in case of such kind of failure. Clear? Means suppose your server is crashed or any technical problem is there, still you have backup and everything for that particular database. Suppose there is a patient data or any genetic data from that database, so that durability is, you have to maintain that durability. These are some rules we have to follow to when you create a database and use SQL query on that. Okay. Then again, data integrity nothing but the accuracy, consistency, reliability. Okay, so to maintain the integrity there are two terms, like uh, important keywords. The first is primary key, Like you can consider this is same as your id, other id. Okay, this is a primary key for first table. So this key, if you are referring with other table, so that is called as a foreign key. Okay. Hmm. There are two. So primary key every time must be unique, because that is a unique id of that table. But yeah, you can refer that table, you can refer that key with another table. So foreign key might be repeat, but primary key must be unique only once in that particular table. Clear? Can anybody give example for such kind of connection of tables, like how we can create primary key for what kind of table and link to another table? Yes, any idea? No.
Gene ID or accession number or
Okay, gene id having accession number, that is unique number, right? So this is, suppose your primary key called as a pk, and then how we can link this with another table. So that another table means what will be that table? For that table there is also one primary key. Okay, for example, let me give very simple example: course and student. Or let's take example course and, okay fine, student ही लेते हैं. So for course, primary key will be your course id. Let's take anything like computer science course 001. This is the id. Like that there are multiple ids. And for student, student number or student id is the primary key. So suppose for this course, this is one id, right? Now in student id, there are 10 students in the class. So 001, 002, like this there are numbers, roll numbers till 0010. Okay, so for this table, student id is the primary key, so we cannot repeat the number, right? 1 to 10, 10, maybe name repeat. That second column is suppose name, so there are two persons with the same name, this might happen. But first key, that is a unique key, must be unique, means only once. So that is called as a primary key. And when we refer this key with other table, whenever we refer this key with other table, that is called as a foreign key. So this student, this id, this particular key, this column, when you relate with this course, that time that student id is called as a foreign key in course table. Why? Because one course having multiple students. Okay, like this is computer science course, so all 10 students can take this course. Clear? So we'll take this with example, we'll clear this concept with example in a table form. Now how we can process this? So for processing, like parsing is there, compilation, optimization, execution, fetching, and also transaction handling. So parsing is what? Parsing is like simply, let's take example query. You have a SQL query. So let's break it down into small components, like for example, keywords or any table column. So we can check error if there is any syntax error. Okay, if you are working the same query, let's take same query. This select one, first one. So if in query, if we are looking for select, if we want to select everything, then no need to provide this column names. There's a symbol. If we are using star, star means all. This is a table name. So select all from gene expression. Suppose in that gene expression table there are 10 columns. So all 10 columns will be selected in a output table. Only row matching with this condition. Like this, all means all columns. Like if you are using the same query, like select all from gene and this gene name like BRCA1. So it is passed to understand the structure, and then we are fetching. Like it will break down in one by one. First it will select all the columns, then which table and what is the condition. On that basis it will break the query. So that is a parsing. Then compilation. So when query passed, then this query is converted into internal format. Internal format is sorry, internal format, that is nothing but which is processed by DBMS query engine. So inside database management system there is a query engine, and that query engine checks the validity of the table, whether this table is present, whether this column is present, whatever provided condition, whether there is any name BRCA1 in that particular column, so that condition is valid. So these all things are checked by DBMS system. This is very optimization is like a very efficient way to retrieve the retrieve the requested or expected data. Okay, like with help of this index we can use this. Like gene name, suppose you can consider as an index, so whether this is exist or not, so that all things we can check. And then there is execution final. So execution is nothing but retrieving the data, retrieving the information for a gene expression, suppose. So we are retrieving that information from BRCA1, from that gene table, from that gene column, gene expression table. So this is execution. And fetching, again fetching is nothing but representing in the output format. Okay, whatever the fetched information represent or return in the proper tabular format. That is called as a fetching, the output. And then transaction handling. In transaction handling, again this the first what we have checked, that all rules we have to follow, like acid. Okay. Consistency we have to check. Then update, after updating we have to check the constraints, everything. So this is all about process. What else is there? So SQL is very easy to learn because it's like a simple English. It's not like a like advanced languages like Java, even Python. It's not that much hard as compared to other languages. We can just like a simple query as a simple English. So access the data from relational database. We can execute the query against the database. We can use to describe the data. Manipulation we can do. Even we can use to create means if we want to create a structure, if we want to create a table, and also drop a table means delete a table from the database. Like database is nothing but the mesh of all the tables, interconnected tables. So we can create new table and connect. We can drop new table, any table which is already exist. Okay, so before dropping, if it is interconnected, then we cannot drop. First we have to remove all dependency connections, then only we can drop. Otherwise if foreign keys there, we cannot drop, because that are linked with each other. Okay, so SQL is used to create view also we can create stored procedures, functions, and there are different permissions for the table. As I told, how permissions means like this is for integrity or security. Suppose anybody like are you able to change the database from Amazon? No, you are just a user, front end user. You just visualize the drop down the menus and select. You cannot change. Okay, that is not, means that permission is not for you, not for end user. So like this permissions are there for all the tables, procedures, and on for view as well. Advantages, yeah, advantages, you can see high speed, no coding is required, a well defined standard. So high speed, as specific query you are writing, you'll get that output. Okay, so it basically SQL provides very high performance if you fire a query from any large database. That database is organized, means having index, having up to date data, structured data. So definitely Speed matters, speed for retrieval the information, because we are using different operations. So if it is a very structured query, then definitely we can fetch the information easily, high speed. Okay, like if you are querying for expression for suppose multiple samples. Okay, so just if you are providing all index, it is very easily or quickly you can fetch the information. Then no coding required, no coding needed. Why it is? Because there is no, as I told, there is no complex code. Just you need to write from what you want to fetch, from where you want to fetch, and on what basis we want to fetch. So there is no loops or logics like that. uh, Complex code is not there. Well defined standards. So standards means there is a simple way already defined. The standard syntax is already defined. Okay, so that you have to use standardized nature of this SQL query, and you just follow the syntax. That's it. Okay, and if you're writing query like in MySQL and you just want to use the same query in PostgreSQL, so most of the syntax are same, only just in condition there might be a change, like how you can define the condition. A minimal modification is required, but yeah, you can use this in both databases. SQLite is little bit different, but yeah, in Postgres and MySQL you can use most of the queries same format. Portability is there. Means portability means what? You can use this query on different platforms, different databases. Okay, so queries can be transferred between platforms. Either you need some or little bit modification, but yeah, you can use most of the thing. Like in bioinformatics, whatever query is written in MySQL you can use in PostgreSQL. That is possible. Also it is very interactive language, because uh, it is very easy to understand, like a common English. So that's why. And multiple data view means you can visualize multiple tables, like one or more tables in like proper manner, customized manner. If you modify or without modification as well, you can see this, like multiple genomic table or multiple expression tables, if you want to combine in one single table, so that is also possible. Okay, so these are some advantages, but yeah, every thing having opposite side. So there are some disadvantages as well, like complexity, scalability, performance, limited NoSQL support, rigidity is there, concurrency is there, concurrency control. So complexity means what? Complexity means suppose we want to join query, like you want to join two tables, so you need to take care of, like you all aware about mathematical join, join Venn diagram, joining, intersection, or what was that thing, union. So these all things are here. Okay, so if you want to join two different tables and dimensions are different, then we have to first adjust the dimension. Suppose there are 4 columns and you want to join with 5 rows and 3 columns, so it is difficult. So wherever there is an empty field, you have to replace that with null, like that all things are there. So this is little difficult. Okay, clear? So that's why it is hard to manage. And then scalability means it's like suppose you are working i- like SQL, and there is only means suppose let's take example NGS data, you are handling NGS files. Okay, that is a well organized genomic data set. Okay, but if you are just having raw data NGS files, then it is difficult to use that data or uh, f- feel that data in that database. First we need to clean and all this pre-processing, then only you have to, you can handle this. Okay. Performance wise, like suppose there is a small sample, then it is easy, like any missing index is there, you can find it very easily. But if you're working with very large data set, like thousands of samples are there and there is no indexing, Okay, so it is very difficult to use query and then find that particular gene or any particular element or value if you are looking for. It is easy. It is difficult. So performance wise, we need to maintain first, and then only we can uh, use that. Okay. No SQL support is what? No SQL we'll see in detail in next session, because SQL is designed for relational database. Means it doesn't naturally support to non-relational means no SQL database. For example, like if you want to store or if you just want to query any unstructured, for example a genomic sequence data or a JSON file format is there, so it is more efficient in no SQL format. We'll see that in there is a database MongoDB. In Python we can fetch that database MongoDB, like, that is in JSON file format. .json extension is there. Okay. And rigidity is also there. Like rigidity means suppose we want to add new field. So already schema is defined. Schema means structure. Like when you create any table, when you create any database, first we have to define the structure. That is called as a DDL, data definition language. There are four languages. We'll see that. Data definition language means definition, defining that table means how many rows, how many columns, what exactly the data type of each column. If we define only numeric for student ID, then we cannot add ABCD alphas, means a text in that column, because it is defined. Some rules, some constraints are already set for that structure. Okay, so that is a rigidity. Reorganization is required in such case if we want to change the field, if we want to change the data type. So that is again schema updation we have to do. So that's why it is a rigidity, that is a disadvantage. And concurrency control means concurrency is nothing but handling multiple users can handle that data, right? So if multiple users querying or multiple users updating that particular data simultaneously, what will happen? Most of the time is concurrency issue will be there. Suppose two researchers attempting to update any particular gene expression data or gene expression level at the same time, at the same database. So is it possible? It is possible, but might face some conflict. Like unless proper transaction management, if we are not using, then it may lead some issue in that table, in that database. Okay, so that is again a concurrency control is a big challenge. I hope you are getting the idea of what exactly the data database management system, relational database management system, and how we are fetching data from that by using SQL. Clear? We'll see
Yes, ma'am.
in next session. Okay, these are the data types, and yeah, we'll see this in detail practically. Okay, so I'll stop here because SQL is means important whenever you'll go for any means application position. Then this is a key question, like required skill. Okay, so we'll continue tomorrow at the same time.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay, see you tomorrow then. Bye.